Hello, everyone. Bonsoir, mes amis. I hope you're having a very good Thursday. On this hand over here, I'm working and trying to make sure all my cameras work and nothing is going too crazy. But my camera is going a little bit rogue. It's going a little bit rogue, so I'm gonna fix this while I'm here. There we go. And hopefully you can hear me pretty well and also see me, for the most part, pretty well. Greek mythology is the subject today. All things Greek mythology. If you're a crazy Greek mythology fan like I am, drop something down below. Let me know how's it going, what's up, what's happening. But we're continuing today with only being on YouTube because the Ethernet and the strength of my system and its ability to support multi-streaming, I don't think is possible, you guys. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be possible. So I think I'm going to have to permanently switch to YouTube for the time being until we get bigger, we get better, and we can then support and, of course, afford equipment that can handle all of that. So, slow growth, that's the way to go. We're building from the ground up, and we're doing it the right way because we could be a little bit I don't know what the word is. What are we thinking of? The word is a little bit rash. We could climb really quickly and do things that are like unethical to get there, but I don't think it's a long lasting way to do it. I think to build a platform that will last and to build a platform to attract the type of people that I'm hoping for, which are intellectually minded individuals who enjoy such conversations about various topics. This week, we're going to be doing Greek mythology, as well as next week. There's a lot to cover in Greek mythology, you guys. I'm sure you're very familiar, and if you were here yesterday, welcome. I have these pictures posted up just in case some of you guys weren't here yesterday, so we can just go through those parts really quickly while I talk to you. And then, of course, next week we are going to continue with Greek mythology, but then I do have a new one set up for you too. Like I do have a new PowerPoint set up for you as well. So that's going to be very fun to get into, and I'm really excited for that. I'm just going to send a message to see if that comes through. Okay, awesome. I just sent a message to myself to see if it would come through, if everything was working okay, and everything is, so yay. But it's part of the journey. Part of the journey. We are learning the good, the bad, the ugly. It's kind of sad that I had to leave X a little bit though, slash Twitter. But you know, you gotta go where the game is. You gotta try to make things work and pivot and be fluid. I think that's all. It's all of us. We just gotta make it work and go with it. But Greek mythology, all the gods, all the cool animals, everything. That's what we're kind of focusing on today. And of course, I'm learning some new things. Learning a lot of new things, you guys. It's like I set out to do one thing, right? I have goals that I need to accomplish or want to accomplish throughout the day, and I'm very like excited to do it, and I have all these plans in my mind, and then I begin the process, and I realize, whoa, there's something I didn't anticipate, or the amount of research that I need to do is much more than I had originally thought it would be. So just little things like that that amount to be pretty big stuff in the end. But right now, we are in the stage of growth and learning, and it's fun but also a little bit tiresome. That's all I can say about that. But yesterday we talked about how I really wanted a Pegasus. I really wanted a Pegasus, you guys. I still want a Pegasus. I don't know when I'm gonna get my Pegasus, but I hope it's soon. Hope it's soon. Some of you guys are like, yeah, she does know. No, just don't crush my hopes. Do not crush my hopes. I'm a Greek mythology kid, and I want to stay that way. I may grow old and be 98, but I will forever be Team Greek mythology. Hades, we talked about him yesterday. Really misunderstood guy, pretty cool guy. I think, I don't know, right now it's pretty hot. Right now it's pretty hot, and my hair, the way that it is right now, it's like my hair is like an earmuff, you guys. If you can think of like how those fuzzy things keep your ears so warm, like my hair keeps my head so warm. It's like I have my own little atmosphere, and it is just hot. That's the atmosphere. It's hot and humid, and my hair like this just further exacerbates the problem. But it's great. It's great. I love it. I love it. We just rolling with the punches. Athena, one of our favorite gods, one of the major gods that we're all into. I see the appeal. Growing up, she's definitely one of my favorite gods, you know? Wisdom, kindness, strength, beauty. Who doesn't want all of those? I do. I want all those things. Hera, of course, we talked about her. That is a sister wife of Zeus. Apparently, goddess of marriage and childbirth, or she looks out for women and children. But her actions speak otherwise. Later on, we're going to get into Hercules or Heracles, but we know him more as Hercules. And so we're going to stick with the name Hercules, even though that is a Roman name, rather than Heracles, which is the Greek name. Like, Heracles is like the only Greek name I do not approve of when you come to Roman and Greek mythology. Roman mythology, the only difference are all the gods are pretty much the same. They have pretty much the same powers. The only difference, like, they have different names. Like, Poseidon for Greek mythology is Neptune for Roman mythology. And it just, I don't know. I prefer Poseidon versus Neptune, but maybe it's because Greek mythology just rose above Roman mythology and the names were catchier or they were cooler. Like, so, I don't know. I think Zeus is the only god. No. No. Zeus is Pluto. See, like, it doesn't make sense. It just does not make sense, you guys. It doesn't make sense. So, that's why Greek mythology, it's easier to stick with that, easier to go with it, and that's what I grew up on. So for me, pretty much I like all the Greek mythology names better, and Hercules is the only one I prefer in the Roman mythology for the name. We have Demeter over here, goddess of agriculture, and she's also a goddess, I want to say, of marriage as well, or protection of, children and all that jazz. But every god overlaps. Their powers sometimes overlap. And you can think that 2000 BC, when these people are telling these stories around a campfire, or they're going around and passing it down generation through generation, some things are going to get mixed up. Some little parts are going to be interchangeable. Dionysus, if you work, you probably love him. Hey, I get the appeal. I get the appeal. This man appears like he would be my best friend. Like, he looks like a fun dude to hang out with. Like, just go on epic adventures, do crazy stuff, try all the different things. You know what kind of things I'm thinking of. Here it's wine, but everything else is encompassed. This is the dude for that job. And he seems pretty cool. Except, partying is fun until it's no longer fun. And also I found that, like, you get tired really quickly. This is what I found. It's like when I drink or something, or when I try to party, I just get tired and sleepy. And I'm like, I want to go home. I want to go home. And I'm like, if I was home right now, I would be reading a book, or I would be asleep, watching my favorite show, and I wouldn't be this tired. What I found when going to clubs is, like, I would begin the night and we all would have a lot of fun getting ready. It would be so cool. And then by the time we get to the club, I'm tired, I'm cold, I'm hungry, and a drink costs $10. And I'm like, why? Why? I want to go home now. I really do. We have Prometheus over here. Talked about Prometheus. He gave fire to mankind, when basically the gods kind of forbade it. So his punishment was that he was chained to a rock, and every day an eagle would come down and peck out his liver, and then each night his liver would regrow and the process would start all over again. We went into detail yesterday about, the story behind that, but that is the one specific thing, or the really big story with Prometheus. But that's a pretty severe punishment just for giving mankind fire. I think it's pretty severe. And the gods are known for having their crazy personalities and fickleness, and one moment they're kind and the next they're just blasting fire. And they are vengeful, they are petty. Oof. Kind of like they are a representation of what we humans are a little bit. That we are petty, we do go through crazy things, and sometimes we're kind, sometimes we're gracious, but other times, some of the time, we're just not. We just are not. Hephaestus, one of my favorite gods, honestly. I don't know if I can now say that I have one favorite god. I think it has to be like I have a top 5 favorite gods. I think that's where I've come to. But I think if you're a true Greek mythology buff, you would agree with me that, yeah, top 5 is the way to go. Because beyond that, I don't know. I don't know if you really can choose because there's so many of them with so many good qualities. Hephaestus, the god of forging and metallurgy, he's like an underrated hero. Like he makes these cool gadgets that everybody uses, but they're afraid of him. So they cast him down into the mountain where he had to spend basically 9 years rebuilding himself and trying to come up with something to be interesting and to, be useful to the gods. So then he would be allowed to return to Mount Olympus. The one with Hephaestus, the story of Hephaestus, is kind of sad. Basically, Hera hated Hephaestus, I believe, and Hephaestus is a child of Zeus and Hera, and for him, he basically got cast down from Mount Olympus because he had like a limp or a deformed foot. So he's not the prettiest god. He is not the most, angelic. He does not have the most angelic face, but he's honest, he's true, he is hardworking, and he perseveres, and he's also extremely talented. And he is an endearing god to me because we don't really think about the good guys who just, or, I'm equating this, the good guys or the good girls who have good morals, good values, they do the right thing, but they're overlooked, that kind of stuff. Or maybe I feel that a little bit on the inside, which is why I'm kind of like talking about this, because for me, you know, sometimes, at least growing up, it feels like, I'm the good kid, I do everything right, and I go along and I make sure that everything works out well, and I wasn't the flashiest, I wasn't the popular kid, I didn't dress like typical girl, to be honest, I was a tomboy, think sweats, and sweatshirts, and sweatpants. That was me in high school. That was me. So I don't even blame people for not even thinking anything much about me when I was in high school, but it's just the underratedness that even though you can have a great personality and you're an awesome person and you're talented and you have a kind heart, sometimes you get overlooked simply because of looks. And that's why Hephaestus is kind of despite all of it, and his mom basically hating him, Hera, just because of him being born with a deformity, he overcame it and he did something wonderful and he's talented, and he would be revered and admired for his strength, his resilience, and for his abilities. Aphrodite, the goddess of love, we all know her, we've come around her. This lady, to me, is just dangerous, in my opinion. If you think about your everyday life, Aphrodite is one of the most dangerous gods. Think about it. And I finally figured out how to get these scenes in here, and so I have a lot of clips that I'm going to be working on for next week to really depict what I was kind of talking to you about how Aphrodite could be so dangerous. The goddess of love could be so dangerous. You don't think of it that way, but honestly, I mean, if you think about it in your real life, some of the most dangerous things you've probably done have been because you were in love. You know I'm right. You know I'm right. Don't even try to deny it. Don't even try to deny it. I've done it too. That's why that's why I'm shamelessly smiling over here, or a little bit just Yeah, guilty, guilty as charged. That is me. Um, Definitely have done stupid things because of love. And if you think about high school, when we all first started dating, and our first boyfriend or girlfriend, or you know, whichever term you would like to use, it's yeah. The first one is like your first heartbreak is like a little bit crushing, isn't it? A little bit harsh, and the things that you will do for someone you love. We can think of it in everyday life. The dangerous things that people do when they're in love, which is why I find Aphrodite to be one of the most dangerous ones, like of all, because love can be amazing in the right context with the right person in the right circumstances and everything, but at the same time, you've heard the phrase that who you marry will make or break you. And that's why this lady is very dangerous, okay? Because who you marry will make or break you. That's that's legit her. That is legit her. And I'm sure a decent amount of us, we don't have a blueprint, we don't have a map. I'm sure a decent amount of us have gotten that wrong. Legit wrong. Aries, god of war. Ugh. Aries is not really talked much about. I mean, he's kind of self explanatory, isn't he? Like, you get the idea. He lives for fighting. He lives for the glory and the screams and the horrible wretchedness that goes on in the world. Like, this is what Aries lives for. Again, Aries, a child of Zeus and Hera, and for him, he was born out of, you know, fury and hate and war, really. So he kind of is born into that, and he became that. He thrives on the screams of soldiers, and his whole thing is like he lives to fight. Nothing is more like intoxicating to him. Nothing will like satisfy him. If anything, it's never satisfactory. Which is why if you think about war, it's never ending. It's never enough. It never ends. Like no matter what, the next war's always looming around the corner. Like you're always waiting for the next war to begin. And as we speak, we have wars going on around the world right now. And this god is feasting upon it. I don't know how much him and Aphrodite work together. And in fact, I think Aphrodite and Ares would end up together and end up having a child together. I want to say his name is Egos, but it's Greek mythology, y'all. Okay? There's so much in my mind, and there's so much I need to read through and think about. And there's so many gods and minor gods and demigods and nymphs and creatures and places, and you get the idea. You get the idea. This is a world that we could spend a lifetime in, which is why Greek mythology has proliferated and gone and done so well over this period of time. And Aries was the last one in here that I needed to get through, so that works out perfectly. That works out perfectly. I I'm starting something new for us this time around. Ooh, demigods and Greek heroes. By the way, this is epic worthy. We cover people, places, things that have been accomplished or great accomplishments that have been made to civilization, either one person or a group of people, or it's just sometimes it's a thing. Sometimes it's just a natural wonders. Like we covered the national parks of America and all the beautiful wonders that we preserved in this country. And there are other things, of course, that we want to cover. So, you know, we're going to be putting out some new videos. I have a lot of planning, a lot of things prepped up, trying to get it out to you guys in video form. And comment down below, let me know what subjects that you are interested in, and we can see where we go along with that. But for the most part, I'm going with what I love, and I'm trying to see, hey, maybe we all like the same thing, we can talk about it and attract people who are similar, and we all can have a lot of fun with this kind of stuff. But overall, this platform is uplifting. It's for people who want to discuss and have fun and enjoy speaking about these topics that we may not have anyone to talk to about them, like in everyday life. For me, at least, when I talk to my friends about these, they're like, "Oh, Shalinda, I'm good. I don't, I'm not really, I don't get what you're saying about this, and I don't really care much. And I'm like, you know what? That's valid. That's just fair. So this community is for us nerdy people, us intellectual people who thrive on such curiosity, to really come and build a community and have fun together and talk about these various topics. But demigods, Greek heroes. Okay, so our hero of the day, or our hero that we're primarily focusing on, is Hercules. I know. I was so excited to have him up here that I really, I went above and beyond. And, you guys, you guys, the easiest things I could have done on here was just to put actually like Hercules like in his own glory, like doing just a picture of him. But I'm so excited, and I'm so excited to tell you about all these stories that like this is where I'm heading to. This is where I'm heading to, and this is a picture that we're gonna stay on while we continue doing the reading and we get into the meat and potatoes of this broadcast. And next week, I'm really excited to see what we end up doing. So next week, yeah, next week is going to be interesting, you guys, because next week I'm finally going to be able to master videos, and I really want to have fun on our live stream. So then the videos can be really the parts where I put out all the information. So I think we're going to stop the reading to the extent that we're doing it, and we're going to go on and do some more fun commentary things and really make it a platform of like the talking point. And then of course I'll be putting out the videos of the meat and potatoes there, and once we've had an opportunity to look at those, then we're going to come here and go through it and discuss. As I'm talking to you right now, an epiphany just came through my mind. You just thoughts and ideas just coming through my mind. It's crazy, but I'm very excited to go on this journey with you guys and build this community. You can see right now what I have pulled up. Let me see. Perfect. I'm trying to make sure that I have everything pulled up here. Perfect. Awesome. See, I'm learning new skills, mastering new things, so you can see me, you can see what I'm reading, so you can come along for the ride. But the heroes of Greek mythology, from Perseus to Heracles, or as we know him more specifically, more commonly, Hercules. There were many brave people living in ancient Greece, and their names and actions are remembered to this day. They were beacons of hope in an otherwise hopeless world, where monsters and terrible forces wandered aimlessly, seeking to destroy everything and anything beautiful and innocent. These heroes personified what it means to be human, displaying courage and a thirst for adventure that the gods so frequently lacked. These heroes represent the highest ideals of humanity, and the gods were in awe of them. Perseus, the son of Zeus, was one of the first of these heroes. The gods had chosen him to complete the mission, despite the inherent peril. He was tasked with bringing back the severed head of the terrible Medusa monster, whose gaze could turn humans to stone. Perseus set sail. He faced several trials and tribulations. His equipment included a mirror-shaped shield, a curved sword, a sack containing the goddess, slew the Kraken, and saved the beautiful Andromeda from a dreadful fate, since the Kraken had chosen her as a sacrifice. His efforts paid off. He was welcomed home as a hero and celebrated by everybody upon his return. Hercules, we also know him as Heracles, was another famous Greek hero. He was conceived by the sexual union between Zeus and the human female, and he had the strength of 20 men and the courage of a superhero. His physical stature was enormous. The king of Messana gave him the 12 laborers to do as proof of his worthiness to sit on the throne. He fought both lions and boars in the span of a single day, capturing the Eurymanthian boar and clearing the Oggen stables in the process. He captured the doe of Cernea and brought the Hydra's head to the monarch. He has been tested several times and has emerged victorious each time, thus cementing his status as a legendary figure. There are many more Greek heroes than these two who battled for the ideals despite great danger. Their achievements were celebrated in songs and tales, and their legacy handed down from one generation to the next, motivating individuals at all socioeconomic levels to go on in the face of adversity. They were forever known as heroes because they triumphed against impossible odds by using ingenuity and fortitude. Greek legendary heroes stand out because their tales serve as an example and inspiration for heroic behaviors. Their stories live on as a continual reminder that bravery, audacity, and honesty are required in today's society, despite the passage of time and the changes it has brought. The myth of Theseus and the Minotaur, a tale of adventure and mystery. A huge secret was buried in the vast palace of King Minos in the region of Crete. A monster resided in the tunnels beneath the king's palace and devoured anybody who ventured into them, terrifying the king for years. The Minotaur, a creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull, was supposedly born to King Minos' wife and a wild boar. Minos desperately sought the assistance of the Athenians to rid himself of the monster and redeem his wife's honor. He proposed that Athens send the Minotaur 7 young men and 7 young women every 9 years as a sacrifice. The Athenians, who were suffering under the weight of this tax, looked for a savior. Theseus, the son of Athens' king Augeas, was the hero in question. Theseus, famed for his bravery and intelligence, offered to slay the Minotaur and put an end to the fear. With his dad's approval, he left for Crete to confront the monster. When Theseus arrived in Crete, the daughter of King Minos, Ariadne, was so impressed by his courage that she promised to aid him in killing the Minotaur. She gave him a ball of thread to unravel while he found his way to the monster in the labyrinth. After he had slain the monster, he followed the thread out of the labyrinth. Of all the beasts that roamed the land and sea, none was as ferocious or powerful as a Minotaur, a monster born of the mating of the Cretan queen and a bull. People were terrified of the Minotaur because it had the strength of a man, but the head of a beast. The news of Minotaur's death spread like wildfire, and the people of Athens rejoiced at Theseus' victory. The prince was hailed a hero and the greatest warrior of his time. For Theseus, however, defeating the Minotaur was only the beginning. He would go on to confront many additional trials and tribulations, always emerging triumphant and serving as an inspiration to others. Dionysus. Different legends. We talked about him a little bit. I'm going to pull him up. I'm going to pause right here. I'm going to pause at Dionysus because I think I want to pull him up because of this tale that we're about to go with him. The thing about these stories is like they're all overlapping, and really, again, you have to think 2000 BC is when these stories are starting. So everything is kind of interchangeable, interlocked, different heroes do different things, but at the same time, you'll hear me say that, one hero completed something, but then the next thing you'll hear that I say that, Perseus killed Medusa, and then another one you'll hear me say Jason killed Medusa, one of another heroes. And it's just, there's so many different records. There's so many different versions of the stories. We just kind of have to go along with it and, choose the one that speaks most to us, and also, I don't know, just kind of go with the flow and choose what we want. Because again, these are all passed down through, stories, word of mouth, until eventually they would be recorded. Like, the most famous one, of course, is Odysseus and the Odyssey, and that whole tale, which is very interesting. But it depends what story you're used to, but every story can be anything, really. At this rate, every story can be anything, and all stories have slight variations. So nothing is really the rule of law, or nothing is really necessarily right or wrong in Greek mythology. It's just there are different versions. So you'll hear me maybe say something different that you're not used to. It's just the book that I'm currently reading. That's what those ones are. But even in the 3 books that I did read, you guys, each one has like a different slight variation. But the main characters remain the main characters. Or I should say, the main gods remain the main gods. But, you know what? I don't know. I hope you can see this. But, ooh. Let's see. This one here. I'm sure you can see. But this is one of the ones that I read. Like, there are so many different ones. I'll show you another one. But this is my Kobo, you guys. I love reading regular books, you know? I love holding a real book in my hands. But for the purpose of what we need to do here, and for what we're trying to accomplish, and how much I need to read to get all these stories out, having a Kobo works really, really well. But look at these pictures. This is not an advertisement. I just love this, and this is the way that I can show you these books right now. So this is the other one. I hope you can see that. But you know, I love my Kobo, and I'm not even getting paid to do this. I don't even think Kobo advertises. Like, I found this out by like going online, and because I'm such a nerd and I love books, I found other people who were talking about it, and they were like, why I do not use my Kindle anymore and why Kobo is awesome. And I was just like, well, you know, again, they're not paying me for this. I'm getting no payment whatsoever. This is just cool, and it works really well. They do a really good job with it. I love my physical books, but Kobo has redeemed, you know, the world of digital books for me in a way. But anyways, those are the books that I read, like Greek mythology and the different ones, and I have a physical book right now that I also took out of the library. So I read like 3 different books, and I'm still reading through them to like decipher everything. And each story is slightly different. Each story is just slightly different. But Dionysus is up here. Let's continue. Let's get some reading done on him, because we had talked about him, but let's talk about this other tale about him as well. And then, of course, we're going to move on to the cool parts. Among the various legends that surrounded Dionysus' transformation, the one about his trip to Hades is among the most known. The god dove into the earth's core, making his journey through the underworld while dodging the horrors of the afterlife. Several encounters with the dead and the Furies who were seeking him out for his sacrilege actions occurred during his journey. Dionysus, however, used his brains and cunning to outwit the Furies and return to the realm above. The Maenads were a raucous bunch of Dionysus followers who followed him on his travels across the world. These devotees were always at his side, inspired by his oratory. They followed him about like a pack of hounds, falling into the god's insane revelry and the inebriated effects. During these chaotic celebrations, they would join forces and transform into beings who were brilliantly beautiful, brilliantly beautiful, but horribly awful, as they lost themselves in the god's holy fury. Dionysus was an important ancient character because of his shape-shifting abilities and his association with joy and insanity of festivals. Those who saw his followers as a threat to the social stability hated and feared him, while those who sought to lose themselves in bacchanal fervor revered him. He remained a major figure in ancient Greek society. He was both a cautionary tale and a symbol of transformative power of intoxicating drugs like alcohol, madness, and ecstasy. Just as I said, alcohol, madness, and ecstasy. Yeah, you can have a lot of fun with him, but you can also lose yourself in him, being with him. That's why he is so dangerous. Next one. You know, we did cover Odysseus, right? We talked about Odysseus and the tale, but there are certain parts that I'm sure you don't really remember, and there are certain parts that we are missing, and we really haven't had an opportunity to hear about, or it's not as well known among the Greek mythology community. It's not one of the major stories out there. But Circe, I know if I say Cersei right now, you're thinking of Game of Thrones, but this one is, well, I suppose she's a witch too in her own right. She really is. But for this one, we're going to talk about Cersei as in the witch in Odysseus, the epic story of Iliad. But for this one, we're going to talk about how things went about, why, and who Odysseus would encounter, one of the creatures that he would encounter on his adventure or quest, I suppose. In the far-off realms beyond the shimmering Aegean Sea, a sorceress of great power named Circe lived. Her fame echoed far and wide as a mistress of magic and the art of transforming men into beasts. Many a traveler did avoid her isle, lest they fall foul of her wrath, but for some the allure of adventure was too strong to resist. Among these brave souls were the Argonauts, a fellowship of heroes and demigods who sought the fabled golden fleece, a mantle of gold with the power to heal every wound gifted by Hermes to Nephili. As Odysseus led them further, many weird and dangerous locations were in their path, but none were as dangerous as Circe's island. As they approached her shores, the sorceress herself did greet them with a voice both seductive and fair, promising them a warm welcome. Her home was a palace surrounded by wood, inhabited by beasts and wild and merry, but who were once men, reduced to their beast form by her wicked spells and evil potions. The Argonauts, unaware of Circe's sinister plan, did fall under her spell and were transferred into beasts. Eurylochus, who was the only one not to enter the palace of the sorcerers and saw what had happened to his companions, swiftly returned to the ship and warned Odysseus of the fate that befell his companions. Undaunted, the ruler of Ithaca set out to save his friends and met with the god Hermes, the messenger of the gods, who revealed to him the secret to resisting Circe's magic. With the herb Molly mixed into the drink offered by Circe, Odysseus did not fall under her spell and threatened the sorcerers, who did acknowledge her defeat and restored the Argonauts to their human form. After a year, Odysseus was forced to comply with his companion's desire to return home and sought the counsel of the soothsayer Tirsa in the underworld. Circe, who offered her aid, gave the Argonauts a potion to dull their senses and make them forget the horrors that they had suffered at her hands. It was a clever ruse, but she knew that if they remembered their time on her isle, they would seek revenge. Yeah, a lady who, finds certain people and, forces them under their spell. Sounds a bit accurate. Sounds like something that could probably happen in everyday life. Really, like, yeah, there are a decent amount of guys who falls under some women's spells, but also the other way around is true too. That there are some pretty good, like, I suppose, sorcerers. If you can think of, yesterday I was watching Doctor Strange, so he could be known as a sorcerer who could get women to fall under his spell. He's pretty good at that. So it's interchangeable. But at all of it, the story of Circe and the guys being in the form of beasts, it's just interesting. They set out for adventure and they set out to gain, glory, and they set out to get the golden fleece and everything, which is kind of representing getting money or adventure or fame. It's kind of like a warning that be aware. Be aware when you set out on this path to glory and fame, because just as you are likely to attain it, you will encounter numerous individuals who have different intentions. And some of them are good, some of them are not so good. And in this instance, for Circe's being here, it's kind of just like Hollywood is a good example of that. That people set out for fame and people set out for glory and money, and then they get in there and then they kind of get co-opted they lose their way. They end up in drugs and all this other stuff. Some of them do make it through and they're well adjusted and they're okay, but the vast majority of them lose a part of themselves. Or if they do get fame and money, like think of Kim Kardashian, for example. The lady's like a billionaire, multi-billionaire perhaps. And think of everything she had to give up. Like, do any of us think of her as someone serious? Someone that we would listen to about anything valuable? Do any of us think of her that way? I don't think we do. And the thing is, like, I know I know the family is still on Hulu and they still have the Kardashian, but like, we don't care anymore. We legit don't care anymore. And like, again, her children, the way that these kids are growing up and what they're doing, she's not known for being the best mother on earth. Like, the only thing that this lady will forever be known for is being on the internet and for dating men or marrying men to elevate her status so that she could gain more fame and more money. And she got it. She got the fame and she got the money. But now that it's all over, now that she's no longer in the news, now that she's not constantly on E and it's never like her family's not being interviewed every other second, what's left? Like, anything positive left about her? Like, she created some makeup stuff, but like, it's just, there's no substance. There's nothing of note. There's nothing of like, I don't know, integrity or anything that one would want to emulate. I suppose she still is in shape, so that's good. But everything that she's doing is just for her image, and it's just all just vapid. I don't know. But that's an example of someone who set out to get fame, set out to get money. They achieved it, but the cost is their dignity, the cost is their image, and the cost is that they will never be taken seriously. And I don't know if that lady will ever get married again. I don't know if that is her hope in life, for her to get married again. Maybe she doesn't want to. But I can't imagine that finding a man who is like actually good, meaning that a man who is of good character and holds himself to a degree of, I don't know the word, maybe honor. Maybe honor is a good word. Or a man who's, values himself in a way that is like positive. I don't know. I don't know if that's what she wants. Maybe she doesn't want that at all. But like, you get all the money, you get all the fame, and at the end of the day, you're left with yourself. And all the materials, once you go to bed at night, you're left with yourself. And do you like that person? Do you like that person that you're left with? I don't know if she is. I mean, I don't know. We're speculating here, but from the outside, I would say no. That's my judgment and my nosiness. And I suppose if you're in the public eye, that's kind of what you sign up for. You kind of sign up for all of this. Like, it's expected, which I'm now in the public eye. So there are certain things that will come about one day when I'm worthy and famous enough. When I'm famous enough for, me to go under the same boat in sacrilege or whatever else people want to throw at me. But for now, thank goodness, I'm just a lowly little thing trying to make it out in the world, and nobody's listening to me, which is great. Which is great. I should, I'm grateful at least for this time, even though, I want to grow, I want to be better. I'm still like, yeah, it's okay. It's okay that I can make a bit of mistake right now and no one is really watching. That's okay. Oh my goodness. But, good life example. We're going to move on and talk about some of the little things. So yeah, they went about and they completed the quest, and, the cautionary tale of all those who dared to venture into the unknown. That is what that story is about. That you can lose yourself in the process. you can lose your soul in the process. The story of Circe and the Argonauts has been told for generations as a warning to anybody thinking of following in their footsteps to fame and money. They would never forget the perils that lay in wait in the darkness, nor the potency of magic that could lure even in the most valiant of heroes. They would be reminded of the importance of wit, cunning, and bonds of friendship, for without these, life's journey would be perilous indeed. Yeah, without friendship and your wit and the bonds that you have with people that you trust in life, and you being smart and utilizing your brain to get somewhere in life, life would be a little bit perilous. Life can be a bit difficult without all those supporting individuals, those friends, those people whom you call and choose to be your family. The impact of Greek mythology in Western philosophy, art, and society is incalculable. It has deep roots in the cosmic expansion from which it emerged, ensuring that these stories, mythologies, and melodies continue to be enjoyed long after they are gone, and is a driving force for many authors, poets, and artists. Yeah, Greek mythology has endured for quite a long time, you guys. Like, honestly. And, I mean, authors are still writing these books. They're still doing all these different things. And for me, like, what I see in this is just it's amazing that these stories have lasted so long. Think how good these people had to be for these stories to last this long. That's just amazing. Like, they capture everything. And like I was saying yesterday, like, you can't tell your children what they're going to encounter in the world and how difficult life is going to be for them, but these stories serve as a great pathway to like slowly immerse them of what they can expect in the real world. And I think that's why these stories have lived on for so long. Like, as a kid, again, you're reading these and you don't think that it's seeping into your mind like that, but when you grow up, maybe you're a little bit more worldly than the other kids around you. Like, for example, me. Like, I grew up reading books, these books specifically, Greek mythology. Like, that's my life. Like, heroes and villains and cool superpowers. Like, that's what I grew up reading. And for me, now that I'm an adult, well, reading these books kind of put the thirst of knowledge in me. So there are so many things I've come across, so many things that I am better off for because I read books. And I know not all of us are into it, and it's a dying thing, and no judgment whatsoever. It's just, that's my heart, it's what I grew up with, is what I'm comfortable with. So I'm really just telling you that these stories instill life lessons, but the thing that I got from it is a thirst for knowledge. And for me, all the other subsequent books that I now read in adulthood, and my ability to seek knowledge and my ability to look for things or look beyond the surface level of things really has served me well in some areas. It has brought me here to go out and try my own thing and fail and go on an adventure and do something that most people are not willing to do because the fear of failure is very strong. And I get it. I 100% get it, because for me, whew, we all have our struggles. We all go through it. And for me right now, trying to make this into a reality is certainly an adventure. It is certainly a feat. I must admit, it really is a feat. But we talk about some cool gods and Hephaestus and Ares and Aphrodite and why she's so dangerous. And we're going to bypass this part for a section. Bypass this part for a second. We're going to talk about Hercules and all these stories. And then we're going to come back and just chillax and see what's happening. And I'll just sit around here and talk and get some ideas going and see where we go from there. But yeah, a lot of cool things with Greek mythology. For Hercules, I didn't know about all these different things that he did. Um, we Hercules, like, it's a popular movie. There are like certain things we know that he has super strength, but there are certain things that I really wasn't aware that he really was into and did do. But let's get into it. Hercules, as we know him. Let me restart that. You know what? Let me drink water first, and then we're gonna start reading. Heracles, or as we know him, Hercules, was the son of Zeus and a mortal woman, Alcmene. By the way, guys, there are so many different names for all these gods. I unfortunately did not have all the time to look up all these names. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my own pronunciation, put my own little spin on it. If you know better, put it down below. Let me know what's happening. But, you guys, they're so weird. They're so weird names. But, yeah. If you see them, great, awesome. But I have my own pronunciation for these, and I'm sounding them out based on what they look like, really. We're going to go back and continue reading. Alcmene, who was married to a king. So while Alcmene's husband was at war, Zeus visited Alcmene, disguised as her husband. He wished to father a son that would be a champion of both humans and gods. This son was Hercules. When Amphitryon, how would we say that? When Amphitryon came back the next evening, he too fathered a son with Alcmene. Hera, the wife of Zeus, was, as usual, jealous and angry at the dalliance of her husband. Using her magic arts, she contrived the premature birth of Eurystheus. He was born a few minutes before Hercules, and therefore became ruler of Argos. Hercules was obliged to serve him, and this he did most heroically. One legend has it that Hera sent 2 serpents to the cradle of the infant Hercules to kill him, but the baby managed to strangle both serpents with his supernormal strength. Amphitryon made sure that his godlike son was trained in all the arts of fighting, wrestling, and boxing. Hercules became a supreme athlete, and he is known as one of the greatest Greek heroes, which is why to this day, like, movies are being made about him. Like, just, we have the cartoon Hercules, and that one's a funny one, but, you know, to this day, like 2000 and something, we're still making movies. Like, we're making movies about such epic stories from like 2000 BC. That's just amazing to me. It's just really wonderful. But when Hercules was a boy, his stepfather sent him to tend cattle in the mountains and to develop athletic skills. A ferocious lion came from Mount Catharon to devour the cattle. Hercules killed the lion and wore its pelt. Hercules was married to the king of Thebes' daughter, Megara. The marriage was not a happy one, and in later years a fit of madness set upon him by the goddess Hera. Hercules killed his children and wife. He went to the oracle at Delphi for advice as to atonement for the dreadful killings. The oracle put Hercules under the servitude of his brother, King Eurystheus, who would impose upon the young hero the 12 labors, seemingly impossible task. I know we talked about, Carnegie for a minute. We had him. Sorry, guys. Let me see something real quick. Sorry, I have to look up something real quick. Interesting. Okay. We had talked about Carnegie. And in one of the passages, I remember them talking about being like, how is he going to accomplish this Herculean task? So people will refer, even today, we have sayings where we refer to things and we're like, Herculean task. And we just know what it means. That it's something, it's a feat that is just almost impossible to do or accomplish. And it's just little things like that that it just comes to mind when I'm thinking about these things. But let me put up something like this. Anybody notice that Hera is sending out serpents to kill babies? Anybody else noticing that? I'm just like, really? The lady is supposed to be the goddess, the protector of children and marriage and women, and she's causing people to have premature births and trying to kill babies. These gods are crazy, just like us humans are crazy. And I'm sure we came up with all these stories, so we probably gave them all the attributes of what you would expect from a human, honestly. We're just like, we're gonna kill babies, cause premature births, but we're the protector of children. Does that sound like a government, perhaps? Like they say, oh yes, we are the protector of the people. We do all these positive things behind closed doors. They're killing babies. Ah, I would have never thought that all these stories in my adulthood now, like seeing them now, I would have never thought they would be so big in explaining how the world is. And it's so cool. It really is so very cool that we're able to explain to kids how the world is without really breaking their innocence. It's interesting. It's so interesting how these people did like told these stories and how these stories would have impacted them in everyday life. It's fascinating to me. The Naaman lion. That is the first task that he had to complete. The lion. That one is very interesting because for me, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, how do you do that? Like, how do you, like, tell these stories and they have such valuable lessons? It's just amazing what people were capable of, what the Greek civilization was capable of. And I wonder for us what will live on when we are gone from this earth. I really wonder. Like, what will we be known for? What do you guys think we will be known for when our civilization is gone, when the American empire, so to speak, falls? What do you think we'll be known for? I really am curious. I'm curious to see what you guys think. There we go. I know, I'm giving you like vertigo over here. There's so many things I'm going through. There we go. I had an idea in my mind and it didn't turn out exactly how I wanted, so I'm switching things around and we are going on the go. Going on the go. Cool. But the first task is a Naaman lion, and we're going to go and read through that one. But you guys, Hera is just a bit evil, okay? The lady is just a bit evil. Hercules was married to the king's daughter, like we went through, and we said that he would need to atone for the dreadful killings, for killing his wife, children. And again, Hera made him mad. Like, in terms, like, he went mad because Hera basically kind of cursed him because, again, his dad is Zeus, and he just likes to go out there and just have sons with all these different women, and Hera's not having it. So she made him go mad. So the story goes. She made him go mad, and the reason why he had to do these 12 labors is because he had to atone for killing his children and his wife, which is just like so sad. Like, just it just also encapsulates like the evil deeds that happen in the world. That sometimes it's nothing. It's not about what you did. It's just that you got caught in the middle of something. That's just it. Sometimes it's the best way to explain life. That life just happens, and because your mom hated what your dad did, you are paying the price. And that's kind of the thing for Hercules. He's paying the price because his dad likes to go around and have children with a bunch of different women, and his, I suppose, stepmom is not happy about it, so he's paying the price. And you can imagine today, like, children pay the price all the time for their parents' misdeeds. I could go on about my own life, but we're not here to be sad. We are here to get cool stories and to talk about interesting topics. And this is a cool life story to get into. Or a cool example of how what befalls us is not of our own making. The Nemean lion was gigantic, an offspring of sailing. It lived in a cave with 2 entrances. After many futile battles, Hercules sealed one of the mouths of the cave and strangled the trapped lion with his bare hands. Afterward, he wore the pelt and head of the lion. The 2 mouths of the lion's cave perhaps symbolizes the entry of Hercules into the battle, the 12 laborers, from which he would eventually escape after death into rebirth and immortality. So he has to enter in and basically die, which is a representation of the cave. It has like 2 mouths, 2 entrances. He has to enter in, sacrifice himself, die, and later on when he is, reborn, he's coming out on the other end. At least that's what the people are thinking it symbolizes. The Hydra of Linnea. The Hydra was a many-headed monster who grew a new head each time Hercules lopped off the previous one. With the help of his companion Iolaus, who burned the stump of the heads and prevented them from growing again, Hercules vanquished this monster. He dipped his arrows in the blood of the Hydra, which is poisonous. So killed the Hydra with its own superpower. That's kind of cool. Like, okay, but this monster is insane though. Really? Like, it grows back heads and it has venom. That is a Herculean task. That really is a Herculean task. Like, how are you supposed to defeat such a thing? Like, really? And again, I'm really excited next week to show you guys some things because we can depict this and see how different people approached killing the Hydra. Hercules is going to, in this story, the heads are like clotted and like burned, so like they're unable to regrow the next heads. And then he uses the venom to like stab the Hydra and kill it. But you'll see in Perseus, I know all the things that I know. But in Percy Jackson more specifically, in that movie, the way that he kills the Hydra is by using the head of Medusa, the Gorgon Medusa, to basically stone and freeze the Hydra in place, which is like turn the Hydra into stone, which is pretty cool. That like, even from back then, all these stories were told in such a manner, but like in present day, like me growing up as a kid, we are still using these epic stories and we're using them in different ways and we're turning them around and we're having different demigods by different gods. Well, Perseus, in Percy Jackson, would be the son of Poseidon rather than being the son of Zeus. So it's so different. But all of it is just so interesting how you can go about in doing things in different ways, but at the end of the day, we are accomplishing the task. And Hydra is just crazy. I would be so scared of Hydra. I already do not like snakes. In fact, I'm terrified of them. So I I couldn't imagine dealing with a Hydra. I would just lose it. I'd be like, I give up. You know what? I'm gonna go chillax with Hades for a moment. Just send me to Elysium, please, please. And if some of you are like, what? Hades, Elysium? Then welcome to the Greek mythology world, because this is how we speak. This is how we speak, and you have no idea what I just said, but it made sense to some of you all who are crazy enthusiasts like I am. The wild boar of Erymanthus. Erymanthus. That's how I'm pronouncing it. That's how I'm choosing to pronounce it. But the wild boar was a huge beast that Hercules hunted through deep fields of snow. He captured the boar, delivered it to Eurystheus. The king was so terrified at the sight of the beast that he hid himself in his bronze jar. There are like many different ones where it's like, basically he's kind of like enslaved to his brother, the king, because we talked about it that like Zeus got the queen pregnant that night, and then because he disguised. Wait. You know what though? There are holes in these stories. I'm curious. If Zeus disguised himself and came in and slept. Okay, Zeus disguised himself as a husband of the queen, right? And goes in and sleeps with her. But then later that same night, the king as himself comes and then sleep with him, with his wife. I'm just noticing some holes in this plot. Okay, again, we're thinking it being oratory, but like I'm noticing some holes over here that like, wouldn't you be like, babe, didn't we just do this? Didn't we just sleep with each other? Or was she just so terrified? The queen was so terrified and she was like, I guess it wasn't you. I suppose I was deceived and I'm not gonna tell you. So we're just gonna pretend and go about it all over again. But like, I mean, I would be wondering like, bro, weren't you just here? Didn't we just do this? Like, why are you back? Why are you back so quickly, so soon? Because it was like the same night after Zeus slept with her, then her real husband in his actual form came and slept with her. And that's how they get twins. You have the first baby, and then you have the second baby. And Hercules is born after his brother in this story. So he kind of does whatever. He's kind of in servitude to his brother. He's his brother's hero. He does whatever his brother wants him to do. But again, you're remembering he's atoning for a misdeed of killing his wife and children. So doesn't matter what his brother tells him to do. He has to do it. But in this one too, it keeps saying in all of it that Eurystheus keeps hiding and jumping into a jar. He's afraid of all these animals that he asks, Hercules to kill all these animals and to do all these crazy tasks. And each time Hercules accomplishes them and brings him the boar, for example, he's so afraid that he has to like run and hide like a little girl. It's just funny. It's just funny to me. But it just came up to my mind. This is what we think of here. It's the weird thoughts that come up in our minds over here. And I had to let you know what I was thinking. That's weird. Anybody notice that? That's weird? The hide of Serenea. Serenea. The hide of Serenea. I think I like it that way too. Serenea. Yeah. The hide of Serenea, this beautiful Arcadian deer, had feet of bronze and antlers that shone like gold and ran so swiftly that it took Hercules a year to capture it. He carried it unharmed to King Eurystheus. I don't know why he needed this one. It's just killing beautiful animals. Like, again, these lessons. Nobody escapes. Not even the innocent. Okay, nobody escapes. Which, like, if you're thinking about what these people had to go through, and how tough their children would need to grow up to be, it makes sense. It kind of makes sense that they're telling them, yo, you gotta kill the deer because you need to eat, or else you will die. Okay? Life is harsh. And I think these stories, in the way that they used to be passed down to the campfire, or whatever way you can think about it, like, it instilled a sense of resilience in children. Today, I know all of you are thinking it, that like kids are so soft and they don't know much, and they don't have to deal with any difficulty. Like, you have vegetarians, which is fine, but then you have vegans, which is like, how fortunate are we? We are so fortunate that we can choose to not even eat or drink like byproducts of animals. Like, we're not even killing the animals, but we won't even eat or drink the milk. Well, that means we're extremely abundant, that we're able to do that. Because these people did not have the luxury. They did not have the luxury. They had to do whatever they had to do to survive, which means, innocent deer, you are dead, okay? You are dead. No mercy. You're pretty, you're beautiful, but, to me, here they say that, the antlers are made of gold and bronze, and the feet as well, shown like gold. They're giving the reasons why in the story, in the myth, but in real life you can think that there's the lesson that could be instilled to a child in that is that deer is valuable. Like, we need it to eat and we need it to survive, and it's an innocent thing. It doesn't go out doing horrible things, but we're still gonna kill it nonetheless. And that's just important stories to pass down. And I think because we are so abundant and we do not have to face such difficulties, then we can talk about being vegan. We can talk about the poor animals. Oh, we feel so bad for the animals. And it's like, yeah, I get that. I get that. But if you're at that point where you are choosing to be a vegan, you are privileged. Okay? You are extremely privileged. And also, you're crazy, okay? It's my opinion, you're crazy because meat tastes awesome. I love meat. You know what? This is a funny story that I heard online. There is these people that were talking, they're like, oh my gosh, I've been a vegan forever. I hadn't eaten meat for like 8 years. And then one night, I went out with my friends. I got too drunk, and I ended up eating a burger, steak. I ended up eating like amazing like chicken wings. And then the next day I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? My 8 years of veganism is down the drain. And it's like, see, alcohol knows what you want, okay? Alcohol will just let you know, bro, what you want is meat. Meat is awesome. And again, I don't want animals to suffer, but I've been Americanized, okay? I've been Americanized, and I love meat. I love steak. I love ribs. In fact, for lunch, I ate ribs, okay? Telling you the truth. I ate ribs for lunch. I don't want to hurt animals, like, needlessly, but believe you me, meat is delicious, and I'm gonna eat all of it, okay? Thank you, vegans, by the way, for leaving all the meat for me. Because if you're not purchasing it, I get to purchase it at a lesser cost. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win. You save an animal and you save me money. We're all happy. We're really all happy. And again, no hate on my vegans. It's just funny, you guys. I had to mention it. It's just funny. And if you're upset with me about this right now, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry, but meat tastes too good, okay? Meat is just delicious. And the poor baby deer, but we're gonna eat it. We're gonna eat it. The fifth challenge for Hercules, the Symphilian. Okay, you know what, guys? When they talked about these birds, I thought of The View. I really thought of The View, you guys. Joe Behar. I like Joy and like her Whoopi and all these other like guys. And again, I'm sure the show is probably there to like outrage. That's the point of it, is to be outrageous, to say the most egregious things no matter what. And it's just to get attention, even if all attention is good attention, even if it is mockery in this way. But the Stymphalian, the Stymphalian birds, when I thought about those, like, these birds, they have like the body of like a human, right? Like the beak of a bird, and like they have the wings and stuff. Think of like a clucking hen, and like horrible talons, and they kind of like feed on people. When this ones came up, I honestly thought of The View because someone had put up a parody about it, and it just made me laugh. It really made me laugh, and it was just so true. Like, these ladies sit there, they're like vultures who feed on people's unhappiness and feed them more craziness, and just like takes away really their humanity or thought processes, in my opinion. In my opinion. Because everything that comes out of these ladies' mouths, I don't know, it just seems that it, it's just there to just rage bait. Rage bait. It just seems so. And no matter who it is, the most amiable guess, they'll find something. And I think that is the purpose of The View, which is, if that is a purpose, they're doing great. They are succeeding because we are talking about them even in Greek mythology. Although it's something negative, but again, all attention is attention. But these birds, they sat around, they fed on kids, and when you got these diseases and things like that, the way that they represent them, it's just these ladies with these horrible wings, horrible beaks, horrible claws that just take and just cluck. Oh my goodness! But yes, I had to mention The View up in here. I really did. The Stymphalian birds are monstrous birds that had wings, beaks, and claws of bronze. They fed on human flesh and were so numerous that when they took flight, their hordes blotted out the sun. Hercules terrified them with the shattering noise of a bronze rattle that the goddess Athena helped him make. The birds flew away and were never seen again. This legend may refer to Hercules' reputation as a healer, known as an expert at getting rid of fever demons. In ancient times, fevers were little understood and often proved fatal and occurred frequently in marshy places. They were identified with marsh birds such as the cranes and ibises, large birds from which the Stymphalian birds may have been molded. See, they fed on human flesh, and, they gave people diseases, and when they flew about, they were so big in number that the horde of them just blotted out the sun. That's just terrifying. That is just terrifying. Some of you are scared of birds, and I've heard of that, or you don't like birds because they're like horrible creatures. And I agree with you. They are horrible creatures, but you guys, The View. The View. Oh my goodness. The sixth task, the Ogden stables. The sixth labor of Hercules was to clean in one day the pestilent, dung-filled stables of the cattle of King Aeolus of Argos. Hercules did this by diverting the course of two nearby rivers and sending their cleansing waters rushing through the stables, cleaning the Ogden tables, as has come to mean getting rid of noxious rubbish in any area, whether physical, mortal, religious, or legal. Yeah, these stables were disgusting. Disgusting. Like, he had to divert a river, people, to, like, go through them. And again, the task of, like, getting rid of all these people in one day, or, I'm sorry, getting rid of, like, all that dung and all that filth in one day, that's just crazy. That's crazy to me, because, like, if you would think, had he not used the river to get rid of it, again, you like, these heroes, they use wit, they use cunning, they use, unusual resources to get the job done. Because The whole purpose of this is for Hercules to suffer. Really. The whole purpose of this is just to suffer. In the end, we'll see what happens, but it's kind of like life. And me needing to drink water because wow. But it's kind of like life a little bit, that we suffer. We suffer a lot. There's a lot that we go through, and we don't know how we're going to get through it. We don't know how the next day's going to be, or how, like, we just don't know. But having your wit going doing something out of the ordinary, and like going a different direction than normal people or what an everyday person would do, is how one overcomes and how one gets above and gets elevated to the next. I suppose in Hercules' case, him dying and him, giving up himself and sacrificing this, in the end, he would later become a god and be able to sit with the Olympians. But for us, I don't know, maybe it's when we are dying on our deathbed, we have no regrets. Maybe that's it. Like, the reason why I choose to do what I want to do, or why I'm here talking to you, the reason why I work so hard is because on my deathbed, I can say, I did it all and I have no regrets. That's really all I'm going for. That's all I'm going for. And, no regrets can encompass a lot of things. Like, I want to be of help to the kids in the world that, like me, came from less than ideal place and they had a difficult life or a difficult hand in life. If that's what I can do to make someone else's life better and to help in any way that I can, that's what I aim to do. And that's what I mean by, like, I want to die with no regrets, because we can live for ourselves and we can do things just with us in mind. And I don't blame you. It's difficult enough to just get up and, like, take care of myself. It's difficult enough. But on your deathbed, I know we probably don't think about it until it's too late, which is what I'm telling you about how I'm such a little reader, and I love to put all these, like, little nuggets of knowledge in my mind. That because I seek knowledge and because I enjoy learning about all these things, I ended up on, not tomorrow, next week. Next week, I'm going to go over this with you guys, and I'm going to put different, again, we have so many different areas we're going to go into, but I'm going to put it different into it next week. We're going to talk about Sprout, and I'm going to, again, give them a shout out because I love that channel. I think they do great work, and I love what they do. But I ended up watching that channel, and the more that I watched that channel, the number of 80-year-olds that I heard talk about, or the older people that I heard talk about, I wish I didn't think so much about what other people thought of me, or I wish I had done this. I wish I had followed my dream and gone out and do something that I set out to do. I wish. And people never talk about the things that they did do. They talked about the things that they didn't do, or the things that they failed to try that were on their heart and that they wanted to do. And I think one of the most awesome things about being a person who is curious and knowledgeable and enjoys these kinds of things, I think one of the most positive things about it is that you can really sit with yourself, think beyond today, and think beyond what is expected of you, and look into the future and think about, how do I want to live my life and what sacrifices am I willing to make? Because growing up, I had always been told that, hey, you can do whatever you want to do. You can have it all. And what I'm finding out is, like, no, you in fact cannot have it all. And you especially cannot have it all at the same time. And what I mean by that, for me, there are certain things I want to accomplish. Like, for an example with this, like, if you want to be the greatest mom on earth, it is unlikely that you can also be a great businesswoman. You can't be both. Perhaps you can be a great businesswoman later in your life after you've raised children and you've done everything that you set out to do, but it's not possible to be a great mom and also a great businesswoman because there isn't enough hours in the day. There really isn't. And for some of you are like, no, I can do it and I have done it. Hey, it depends what your definition of great is, isn't it? If your definition of great is that my kids are fed, they look good, they're taken care of, they can read, they can write, I hear you. I hear you. We all have different levels of what we consider to be greatness. And if for you that is greatness, awesome. Like, again, no judgment, no shame, none whatsoever. For me, what I would want to give my children, I cannot do. I cannot do it in this lifetime. I cannot do it. And for what I want to accomplish and for what I want to give to the world and the positivity I want to put into the world, and for the certain goals personally that I would like to achieve, I cannot do it all. So I have to choose. I have to make a sacrifice. And I think going into it and making your sacrifice, knowing what you're losing, is probably one of the most freeing things one can do, in my opinion. And what I have found is that knowing what you're sacrificing while you're young and knowing what you're choosing while you're young. Of course, there are certain times when you're going to have pangs of regret or, pangs of longing and things like that. But choosing what you suffer, I suppose, in my opinion, getting to choose what you suffer or getting to choose what your Herculean task is much easier than going through life. Or what I would rather do is to choose what my task is, or what I want to suffer, versus going through life realizing I'm 80 and having all the regrets of the things I didn't do. Does that get to your soul? Does that translate? Do you feel me? Do you feel me? If you feel me, put it down below. Let me know. It will pop up in the orange box, by the way. But I had to get that out there and what I think of these tasks that Hercules has to suffer. And again, like, the whole reason why he's suffering these tasks is because he killed his wife and children. Like, even then, him, the hero, the demigod, cannot have it all. He can never have it all. With all of these stories here, it's about sacrifice. It's about what you lose as well as what you gain, but it's always about sacrifice. What do we have to sacrifice to get what we want? And I think many of us go through life, and again, like, I personally, I listen to my parents. I think they have the best intentions, and they're good people, and they have the best intentions in mind for us. And I think a lot of us go through life and we listen to our parents. We do what our parents want us to do. And if that works for you, that is awesome. And if you're happy, that is awesome. But for some of us, we're a little rebellious. We're a little rebellious. We're like, yeah, Mom and Dad, no. No. I do not want to do that. I get you have good intentions, but I'm going to choose my own Herculean task. And what I've found is that when we really sit down and think about it, we find that sacrifice is much more than we would have imagined. The sacrifice needed is much more than we would have imagined. Thoughts, valid points, interesting things. And again, it's what I'm telling you, that here we talk about these subjects that, for me, this is it's riveting. But my friends would be so bored by now. And you're probably like, Shalinda, I'm bored by now, okay? I am bored by now. And I'm like, I feel you. But those are the things that go through my mind. And that's why I'm here, trying to find people who think similarly so we can talk about these things. The Cretan bull was captured by Hercules. It had been terrorizing the island of Crete for a long time. Hercules returned it to Greece. The bull was later killed by Theseus. The combat of a man with a bull was one of the ritual tasks imposed on heroes. There are, like, again, like, even the bullfighting thing that happens in Spain, like, that's very much a thing nowadays. But, like, fighting a bull is just a rite of passage. It's just what they do. Like, you just have to fight a bull. Like, if you're going to be a warrior, if you're going to be a demigod, you have to fight these animals just because it is what they did in that culture. Oh my gosh, you guys. Look at these horses. Aren't they scary? These horses are so scary to me. Look at those eyes. They're crazy. Oh my gosh. I'm scared. I'm scared of those horses. I really am. Like, I don't mind Hades, but those... No. Whomever painted that did a good job. I am impressed. And well done. We don't know who the artist is, but we're giving them credit. Whomever they may be. The horses of Diomedes. Hercules captured the horses. Some say they were wild mares of Diomedes. It was said that Diomedes fed the horses human flesh. Hercules killed Diomedes and gave his flesh to the horses, after which the beast became quite tame. The taming of wild horses was an important rite in many ancient cultures. Yeah, horses are a major reoccurring theme in Greek mythology. There are major, and again, at this time, horses are just beginning to come, you know, to be utilized, to really be used in that region, in that area. And if you think about it, if you're going from nomadic lifestyle, from walking everywhere and having to carry everything, getting horses and coming around them, that's like, it's inspiring. And how fast you can go, and then the riders and the warriors that they would encounter. There are so many stories about horses, and I think it's because to them, horses were very valuable. So they would end up in many different stories and end up in many different legends, I guess. And they have so many different uses. We have a horse, we have a seahorse, we have a Pegasus, which I told you I want a Pegasus. We talked about this yesterday. Pegasus, yes. All of us want a Pegasus. If you don't want a Pegasus, what are you doing here? Are you even human? And then we talked about there are the centaurs, right? Like, but the horses, these horses are never like the kindest ones. The centaurs are known for being like so full of themselves, like so just all high and mighty. That's the other thing about it. Like, these horses are always in a way like portrayed in a way that is above and beyond like humanistic abilities. They're almost like demigods or nymphs in a way. Nymphs, by the way, are, think of a triad or a maenad or a naiad. These creatures are really like, they live for thousands of years, but they really, they're smaller. Like, triad, if you think about it, like, it's really more like the trees. The naiad is like rivers, and there are different ones for the ocean, but they live for thousands of years. They're not immortal, but they have very long lifespans, and they have very specific uses. But these horses, kind of like that, they have a long lifespan, perhaps not as long as a nymph, but they are very important, and they have major responsibilities and are held in high esteem in Greek mythology. And from what I understand from reading these books, at that time when they are coming into being, the Greeks, when they are encountering horses, it's a major new thing for them to tame a horse, to get to ride a horse, to use a horse, to get all these things done. So, horses. A lot of them in Greek mythology, a lot of variations of them. They are like the most varied animal in Greek mythology. But those horses are scary. I'm scared, people. I really am scared. And I want a Pegasus. I know. I want a Pegasus, but just not those horses. Fed the horses human flesh? Could you imagine if horses ate human flesh today? Oh, I'd be so scared. I don't know. I think all of us would be running for the hills. We'd be afraid. Like, we won't be taming you. The girdle of the Amazon. Eurystheus asked Hercules to obtain the girdle of Queen Hippolyta of the Amazon for his daughter. Some versions of the legend say that Hippolyta fell in love with Hercules and gave him her girdle freely. Other versions say that Hippolyta was later abducted by Theseus. You know, always like Hercules doing something and then Theseus coming around and killing it or abducting it or ruining it. I don't know what's happening. Who is Theseus? We want to know more, but it's Greek mythology. The rabbit hole we could go into is so far, it's so deep, it's so wide. We simply do not have enough time, and I will bore you to death if you're not as passionate about these subjects as I am. But Theseus always coming along just to ruin Hercules' day. It's like he spared the deer, but Theseus had to come and kill it. Or, the boar, or the bull. Theseus had to come and kill it. What? What? Why? Why? But it's Greek mythology. Some of it is just inexplicable. Like, you just unexplainable. You can't. Is unexplainable a word? I don't think that's a word. Unable to be explained? The cattle of Geryon. Look at this bull. That's insane. Well, I think it looks like a bull, but I think it's a cattle. We had already talked about the bull. This one is a cattle. This one is cattle. The cattle of Geryon was a three-headed monster. Okay. The cattle of Geryon. So Geryon was a three-headed monster whose fine red cattle were the envy of everyone, including Eurystheus, who ordered Hercules to capture them. Stealing another man's cattle was an ancient custom. A prospective husband bought his bride from the proceeds of a successful cattle raid. I know, you heard that right. Bought his bride from the proceeds of a successful cattle raid. What? The Greeks are savage, you guys. The Greeks are so savage. Oh my goodness. No mercy. No mercy. Like, from the very beginning, they're kind of telling you, we are savages. We do not care. We're capable of mercy, but mostly we like to just mess things up. We like to get all crazy and do crazy stuff. That is Greek mythology for you. Greek mythology. Oh my goodness. But stealing the cattle is just something that they did. It's like an expected thing. A good steak for a wife, what a trade. A good steak for a wife, what a trade. That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, would you make that trade though? Would you? I don't know if I would. I think. But, I don't know. That's really hard. It's a really hard one. That's a really hard decision to make. But that's what the Greeks did. It was all about hard choices. That's just so funny, though. I don't know if I'd be up for that. Anybody else would be up for that? A good steak. Some of you guys in there are like, I'm keeping the steak. I am keeping the steak. I am done with this whole rigmarole. I'm keeping the steak. And I don't blame you. I do not blame you. I'd keep the steak too if I were you. But in here, they raid cattle and they use the proceeds to trade for a wife. Craziness. The Greeks are crazy. But that's why we love them, and that's why they've lived on for so long. It's because they acknowledge the brutality of the human existence, of what we're capable of. The Greeks don't try to sugarcoat it. They come out and they tell you, yeah, humans are capable of great things. Yeah, our gods are capable of great things, but they're also like vengeful and spiteful and horrible. Which in this era of what we are going through and how I think we're in an era of softness. I don't know what the word is for it. An era of just, I don't know. Think of the word. It's coming to mind. I really can't think of it. But it just appears that everything is sugar and sweetness, like we're lying to ourselves. Oh, let's be kind to everyone. Oh, let's just be nice and cause no harm. Let's just go out and have a socialistic society, and we're all going to be able to provide for each other and help each other and give freely. Yeah, that's not really human nature. That's really not human nature. And I think a good deal of us are kind of like, bro, it's good to dream, but that will never be. That will never be. And I think that's what we love about Greek mythology. They're kind of like, not only will it never be, but from an early age, we teach our children to steal cattle. Steal cattle. It's a rite of passage. And eat that steak. And innocent deer are going to die. And I think those are important lessons to know, that life is full of, you know, horrors. And if you are not careful, I'm done. I am done. I am done. You get the idea. You get where we've been at. The whole story of what we've kind of come across today. It's just the Greeks acknowledge that life is brutal, and it's best that you teach children young, because then at least they know what they're going into and they can prepare and be strong. And back then, you needed strong children. Like, kids died of a fever. Like, you needed them to grow up and to be strong and to know that life is full of horrors. Stealing of Cerberus. The fearsome three-headed dog guarded the gates of the underworld. Eurystheus ordered Hercules to bring him the monster, never expecting the hero to return to the land of the living. However, with the help of the gods Hermes and Athena, Hercules overcame both Hades, the god of the underworld, and the monstrous dog. The three heads of Cerberus may have represented the 3 seasons vanquished by the demigod who became immortal. The demigod who became immortal. So everything that Hercules is going through, all these trials, all these tribulations, at the end, there is a reward. Kind of like life. What is your reward? What are you going for? Is it worth the suffering? Is it worth the 12 tasks? And along the way, you're going to have to sacrifice, and you're going to have to lose some things. It's just part of life. And if you don't choose, life is going to choose for you, because inaction is action. Yeah, inaction is action, okay? So by you not choosing, you are making a choice, and you will pay for that price. You won't get to choose, but you're going to pay the price. And I think it's easier to just choose your suffering, because at least you'll know what's coming. Or as Jordan Peterson say, willingly accept difficulty. It's easier if you do it and you just accept the difficulty instead of having it be imposed upon you. I have found this to be true. But my personality, I am very disagreeable. My friends would describe me as pig-headed, bull-headed, I don't know, defiance. Like, I think, again, maybe the Greek mythology seeped into me as a child, because reading all these stories, maybe it, like, instilled all these things in me, because right now, what I do, the ways that I've chosen to go about my life, and the fact that I do not put up with things, or put up with people's bull crap, we're being PG here, okay? We're being PG just because it's YouTube. But my defiance, or my just inability to put up with people like being horrible, and just the mistreatment. I'm just like, I'm not gonna swallow it. I'm not gonna suffer you. I'm just not. And maybe it's gonna lead me to the Herculean tasks, but does immortality await me? I don't know. I don't know if immortality does await me, but it's gonna be a fun journey. You bet it's gonna be a fun journey. But the defiance and everything, like all these tasks he's doing, people are kind of basically expecting him to die. Like basically send him to Hades, send him to the underworld to steal the beloved pet of the Lord of the Underworld. That is crazy. That is crazy. Could you imagine going to hell and being like, "Hey Satan, I'm gonna take your favorite pet. What do you think about that? Do you really think it would fly? Do you think you could make it? Could you make it? Could you go to hell and get Satan's favorite pet and come back on Earth and survive?" I don't know. I don't know if I could. But it is said in the story that Hercules kind of like ended up making a deal with Hades, that they kind of talked to each other, and Hades was like, "Hey, if you can subdue him and win him over, or you can, like, do this certain task, then I'll let you have him for free. Like, or not let you have him for free. Like, I'll let you borrow him for a time, and like you can come back later on." Again, different versions of different things, but like he kind of like bargained with the Lord of the Dead and made it to tell the tale. But yeah, the stubbornness of these heroes, and how crazy they are. And we have the last one, the last task. The apples of the Hesperides. 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 Hesperides? Hesperides? Is that what we're thinking? Hesperids? Hesperides? I think I like Hesperides better. But these words, you people, these Greek names are crazy. I'm telling you, they are crazy. The new words I've had to learn is insane. Or learn how to say or speak. It's crazy. The apples of Hesperides, Hercules' final task, was to bring some of the golden apples of the Hesperides to Eurystheus. Eurystheus. You see? Hesperides to Eurystheus? How could they do this to me? I did it to myself, let's be honest. But still. The apples belonged to Hera, who set the dragon Ladon to guard them. Only the Titan Atlas, who carried the sky on his shoulders, knew where the apple orchard was. Hercules took the sky from Atlas and persuaded him to fetch some apples. He then tricked the Titan into taking back the weight of the sky. The explanation for this labor may lie in the primitive ritual in which the candidate for a kingship or immortality had to overcome a monster and rob it of its treasure, the golden apples. There you go. Those are all the stories. But let's read some more. There is no clear chronology. There is no clear chronology for the exploits of Hercules, but rather a patchwork of events with some confusion about the order in which they took place. For example, it is not clear at what point the goddess Hera, wife of Zeus, angry at the dalliance of her husband with Alcmene, took revenge upon Hercules by sending him fits of murderous madness. Among his crimes were the killing of his own children, wife, and some say the killing of a guest in his house. Such deeds were unforgivable. Hercules worked for many other rulers, trying to atone for his misdeeds and the crimes he had committed in the fit of madness. These stories of Hercules are numerous, and different versions are quite interesting. Yet the lessons they instill will continue impacting generations to come. That's just 2000 BC, people. 2000 BC is like when we're like beginning these stories. Like, it's insane. And now we're in 2010 and AD, right? AD. By the way, you know something that's beginning to plague my mind, and something that's getting into me like right now, is the BC and AD and BCE. Like, the more I read, the more I'm like, I want to exactly delve into like the difference between BC, BCE, and AD. I know what they stand for, but I really can't really comprehend in my mind what that timeline is. It's kind of like, it's getting to me, people. It really is getting to me. I'm beginning to like, just a little bit frustrated. Like each time I learn something, I want to go learn more. But next week we're gonna dive into like other things. Think of like cornucopia. Think of the Olympics. If you like watching the Olympics, how did that come about, and why do we still use the Olympics, or why do we still have the Olympics to this day? To this day, the one thing that the world does do together, of all the things that we're unable to get along with, the one thing that we do together is the Olympics. That's amazing. It's like a world thing. It's the only thing that we all agree on. That's amazing. It really is. But I thought it would be cool to look at some pictures of the not Colosseum, well, some Colosseum, the shrines, or the, I don't know. Guys, help me out if you do know what I'm thinking about right now. But these columns and these buildings that they built for these gods, my mind, too many things in my mind. But right now, I can't think about it. But we're going to look at these buildings and the ruins and how long these things withstood time, and how gorgeous they are to this day. They're still very, like, very, very pretty. And I imagine, like, what they looked like back then. See, Colosseum. There we go. Finally got it. Finally got what was sticking in my mind. But it's just so amazing. Just the time and what these people built. I wonder what will survive in our time. I wonder. I really wonder. I'm so curious. But look at this. Isn't this so pretty? Oh my goodness. It's just so amazing. These columns and how they built everything and how they lasted for so long. These people are just, wow. Their capabilities really, really does amaze me. Like, I'm at a loss for words. Of course, now I have another place to put on my list to visit. Another place to put on my list to visit. Like, I'm just, wow. I don't know. Each time, my thirst for knowledge. I'm kind of like, ooh, who is always eating, but is like a bottomless pit? Like, what god is it? You guys, I know there's a god for that, but I can't think of it right now. Or if it's not a god, it's a titan. If not a titan, it's definitely a monster. But I can't think about it right now. Who it could possibly be. Eh. We'll get about it next week. Next week we're going to get into it. Cornucopia, Olympics versus how that got started. We're going to talk about more gods, like more mortals and demigods. We're going to talk about the animals, like satyrs, the centaurs. We're going to get into more of those things. And of course, we're going to have, like, I finally figured out how to do the videos, but then in an actual way that is better than what I had been doing. So again, we're improving, we're learning on the go, and I legit just did the research and figured it out like today. And I'm excited to be showing you some depictions of what we have been doing in our present time with Greek mythology and how we've depicted these guys and who we have chosen to highlight and the feats that are still being looked at and being admired today. It's just fascinating to me that it's living on for so long. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm jazzed up, you guys. Oh, what's this one here? What's this one here? Like, I have no clue what this is, but it survived. It survived. It survived for this period of time. That's just crazy to me. But the cornucopia is the main one I can think of. The Horn of Plenty. Horn of Plenty, cornucopia. But you know what? Since I do have the book and we have a couple minutes, guys, I'm just going to be chillaxing and chatting with you for a minute. Great time to send me something. Send a message if you like. But look at this. Ah! Greek mythology. See? I was telling you. This is what I've been reading. This is what I've been reading. Oh, this is what I've been reading. With craziness. Just me and my reading. You guys, when I tell you everything is in order, of what things are. And when I tell you, like, I have no idea who, like, I know a fraction of these gods. For as much as I've talked and for as many things I've listed and rattled off to you, I really know so little. So little. And our lighting is just, we're going with the flow, okay? We are going with the flow. Oh, but the Minotaur. We discussed the Minotaur, but I don't know. You can't really see it. You can't really see it. But I have a decent amount of pictures for you. But it's cool to have a book. I just can't lose with a book. I really can't. Even if my face is not showing up the best right now, the lighting is different. See, the cameras, the lighting. I need to work on my lighting. So many things to improve. So many things to improve. But the next picture, look at that. Oh, oh my goodness. Anybody else want to visit right now? Anybody else want to visit Greece and be like, Greek mythology? Oh, I am so excited to see all these things. I'm so excited to go explore and see what past civilizations have accomplished and the feats that human civilization has overcome. Which is why at the end of the day, I always say, we're on the same planet. We're all trying to accomplish the same goal, like, which is just make sure our kids are fed and have a good life and we prosper. And we talked about it. Greek mythology encapsulates it. That we forever want peace, but it will never be. It will never be. And just the reason why the Greek gods represent all the things, all the fallacies. Pandora's box, that's another one we're going to get into, Pandora's box. Why is it that us humans are incapable of peace? And how is it that us humans are able to go on living for so long and endure in spite of all the difficulties that we encounter? How is it? And Pandora's box, we're going to get into that and explain why that is. Why? And if you guys know the reason, if you know the answer, how is it that humans are able to get along and prosper despite all the hardships that we face? If you do know the answer, put it down below because I'm so curious. Maybe you do know it. I don't know. You might surprise me. You might surprise yourself. But next week, we're going to get into all of those different things. And of course, we talked about Bacchus. Oh, the dryads. Yeah, the dryads, the tree nymphs. You see, like, I have nymphs to get into. The fountain nymphs, the freshwater nymph, the ocean nymph. I have so many nymphs. Oh, so many creatures. And of course, there are ones that I do not know at all. At all. And Roman, this is a combination of Roman and Greek mythology, by the way. If you see Greek, Roman, it's A to Z. Let me see if I can show you. Oh my goodness. It's like working backwards. Forward is backwards kind of thing. But anyways, you get the idea. You get the idea. Different, it explains everything, but it's its own weird way. We know about Helios and Hera and Io and Axion, Hephaestus, Hippolyta. Ooh, the Amazonians. Should we do one on the Amazonians a little bit? I don't know. Like, there's so many to cover, and I don't think we'll have enough time. But I also, of course, want to cover the monsters. We did cover the Hydra a little bit, and the Minotaur a little bit. But there are other worse beasts out there that are just really a pain. Really a pain. And they never end. They're like a bottomless pit. And of course, we know Cronus. Perhaps Cronus is the one I was thinking of when I was saying, you guys, sometimes I'm like, I feel like I'm a bottomless pit. Like, I just, I so much thirst for knowledge. It can never be enough. Ooh. But guys, I was thinking of who one of my favorite gods would be as well. How about, oh my gosh. He has a thing on Netflix about him. The King of Dreams. I can't believe it. I'm blanking out on the King of Dreams name right now. If you know it, put it down below. The King of Dreams. See? I have so much in my brain, I can't even remember. But, like, gods like that. they're so underrated, but they're so important. Like the King of Dreams, the King of Dreams is like one of the scariest gods. You wouldn't think that the King of Dreams would be scary, but put you to sleep. You know what? I have to look on getting a clip on why and telling you why the King of Dreams is so scary. But imagine your worst nightmare and being put to sleep and living it for eternity. That is the capability of the King of Dreams. You think Hades is bad? Oh, yeah, Hades may be bad in his own right, but the King of Dreams, Sandman, some of us know him as, but that man is just so scary. And I don't know his Greek name in here. Gosh, you guys, I want to find out so badly. But I also wanted to cover like the River of Styx, Elysium. I wanted to cover Tartarus and the different aspects of the underworld. And I'm sure someone else has already done it all, but you didn't do it. You didn't do it. You know what I mean? You didn't get to see it with me, and I'm a lot of fun. I'm a lot of fun. I think we'll cover it in a more fun way, and go along and cover it in a interesting way. Now that I know how to finally work my videos, okay? Now that I know how to finally work my videos, I think we're gonna have a lot of fun getting those parts done, and covering these different aspects is just fascinating. Just simply fascinating. And of course, I talked your ear off, and I'm really good at that. That's my superpower. I'm good at talking your ear off about all these crazy subjects. But you guys, thank you for being here, as usual. Fun always having you. Next week, we're going to take it above and beyond and improve, and I'm very excited for it. But you guys, I think I'm going to stick on just YouTube for a minute. I think that I'm unable to handle the bandwidth, just I had said in the beginning. Like, I don't think the equipment I have right now is able to handle, multi-streaming. And to me, it's a little bit sad that I can't do it right now, but I know that we'll be able to do it shortly in the future. So I believe in us. I believe in me. I have to. Of course I do, because why else would I be doing this? But we're going to get there, but I think I'm going to transfer them over to YouTube. I'm going to do what I can with X, and I'm going to continue posting things on there. But for the live streams, my dears, you're going to have to come and see me over here. We'll have a lot of fun together. And of course, as we evolve, we'll end up back on X and other platforms as well. But X is a beast. When I tell you I had never used X prior to becoming a streamer / podcaster, if I even can call myself that, prior to starting on this journey, I had never used X. And when I tell you what I'm learning, the madness, I don't know how you do it. If you are on X, I don't know how you do it, bro. I give you credit, okay? But as usual, it's been fun. It's been riveting. Thank you for being here. Au revoir. À demain. À semaine prochaine.